Thank you. Our next session I'm really excited about. This is our Breastfeeding Goddesses session, and Ivette Ivens, the creator, is here with you, and she's going to take over. Welcome. Hi, everyone. Hello. I'm Ivette Ivens. I'm the author of Breastfeeding Goddesses book and a photographer. Someone told me that imagining everyone naked can help me to overcome my public speaking fear. I don't know if that works, but you guys look awesome. I'll tell you a bit about my Breastfeeding Goddesses project and about my journey to photography. So I was born in Lithuania, and my mom worked as a photographer and a journalist for 50 years, and I was her little muse. So when I was old enough to understand the concept of the camera, I started stealing it, sneaking it out of my mom's purse and taking pictures of whatever I found beautiful at that age. And at about age 14, I hacked myself a Photoshop. So that's when the real fun started, when I couldn't imagine myself doing anything else. But my parents didn't think so. They thought that artists are homeless and starving. They wanted good for me. So I put my love for photography on hold and focused on important stuff such as math. And when I finished my school at about 18 years old, I wanted to study business administration in order to please my parents, and then I wanted to find a job that would please me. So I started working at this advertising agency where I actually could turn on my imagination and creativity again. My boss immediately noticed that that's my strong side, and I was really happy that I can enjoy doing that again. After a few years, I met the love of my life and followed him to Chicago. And we didn't wait too long, and we had our first baby. And I mean, you can guess the rest. The mom takes pictures of her baby, her friends see that, they like it. Then husband pushes me to start a business, and here I am. I think all ways lead to where you're supposed to be, like where you're meant to be. And I'm really happy that mine weren't too long, and I'm exactly where I imagined myself at age 26. So the Breastfeeding Goddesses project, I started it out of principles and fire inside of me. It started after I posted actually a self-portrait of me tandem nursing my boys. One was 3.5 and another was just a baby. So I was really surprised how people reacted to it. They were in shock. They couldn't believe that they're seeing boobs being used as they're supposed to be used. So that's like in a couple of weeks I realized that I have to change something. That's when I started my project. And along my journey, I met this amazing girl, Jessica Scott.
The lights.
I'm so excited to be here because it's an awesome opportunity, but my daughter that is nursing on the cover of this book threw up in my dreadlocks at 2 a.m. So I got no sleep and she's sick, but I'm just happy that I was able to wash it out and look presentable. But I'm sure you guys all know how the mom thing goes. So our paths kind of crossed early last year. I was nursing my now 2-year-old, and I began posting pictures on the internet just because I like breastfeeding. My mom breastfed me and my sisters till we were about 2 each. And I started to get people reporting my photos on Facebook, of course. They never took them down, but I was starting to get really angry. So I decided to start a normalized breastfeeding campaign last February, just by myself. I don't even know why, I just decided. So I was gonna post one nursing photo every day in February, which I did, and I kind of spread the word via mommy groups on Facebook and got everyone to join me. They tagged me with the hashtag normalized breastfeeding, which was great. Kind of took the internet a little bit by storm. I'm not sure if anyone ever saw that. But at the same time, as that was simultaneously happening, I met Ivette in the Breastfeed Chicago book, and she was looking for models. And so I thought, man, this kind of sounds like a good opportunity, and I'm kind of doing this on my own, you know, my like selfies with my iPhone, put a filter on it, and it's good to go. So I actually, one of Yvette's photos, I don't know if it's up, but the one of me, it's a profile picture of me nursing my daughter. It's actually on the toy box that my dad made for me and my sisters when I was a child. And I set up that photo with an iPhone and posted it for my campaign. And then she saw it and ended up recreating it. So it was really special. And it was just awesome, so awesome to be a part of something larger than what I initially set out to be a part of. So Yvette took my picture. It was about the end of February, and then I actually had to stop nursing for medical reasons. I had a really, really tough first year being a mom. I thought I had postpartum. I thought I was going crazy. I thought that I just wasn't cut out to be a mom. It was really tough, and you know that nursing can be tough on top of being a new mom. So I actually got a blood panel done, and I was diagnosed with Graves' disease, which is a hyperthyroid, really, really crazy diagnosis. My endocrinologist said it was the lowest numbers he'd seen in 10 years and asked me if I was okay, and I just, started crying. So I had to be on anti-thyroid medication and ended up weaning my daughter for that medical reason. So the cover of this book is actually really special to me because that was the last time that I nursed my daughter. So we were able to commemorate that. And so when people are like, why would you take pictures of something, it's so private, it's your thing. But I think that by taking these photos and allowing the world to see and sharing my journey, it kind of gives other moms permission to be in public. We don't have to be hidden. We don't have to be in cars, in toilets, bathrooms. Leave where we're at. You can just be who you are, provide for your child, and not feel like you're being inconvenienced or that you're a burden. So it's just been so great to commemorate something that was so near and dear to my heart. I'm happy to say that with holistic medicine and a naturopath, I beat Graves' disease, kicked its ass. So I'm healthy, and my daughter has started to comfort nurse again, which is great because I'm not on any medication. So, we've been through quite a lot. And we're still standing here today, even though we had a puking episode last night. So, did you want to do the Q&A now? Yeah. Okay. So we're just going to go through. I had posted on my Facebook. I kind of have a large, natural mom, breastfeeding mom following on Facebook, and I asked some of the women who are nursers as well what they would like to have known prior to embarking on their journey. And I think that a lot of women don't know how to prepare. So we just put together some Q&A to kind of go over some of the things that you might encounter in your journey if you're a new nursing mom or if you're pregnant, and how to be best prepared.
So the first question we thought it's really common is, even though breastfeeding is natural, it does not mean it's innate. Can you comment about this?
So I would say, even though, breastfeeding is super a natural thing, it's something that we as moms are all equipped with the ability to do most of the time. There's a huge learning curve, right? When you're a new mom, you're like, what is going on here, I remember I had an awful delivery with my daughter. It was 101-hour labor. She was posterior. It was terrible. So I was exhausted, and I remember the nurse giving me that checklist, where keep track of how often she nurses, and I'm just sitting there going, because I came from a nursing family, and my mom was super into La Leche Me, and so was her best friend, who was her mentor, when she was nursing me and my sisters. And I remember doing nothing but nursing, especially in the hospital and the first year thereafter. And the nurse came in, this was day 2 after I had Scarlett, and she said, "Where's your sheet?" And I'm like dying in the bed, you know? And I'm like, I don't need to keep track of the sheet because she's been latched on for 11 hours now. And she looked at me and said, there's no way that she's nursed for 11 hours. And I was like, because it's true, you know? That's what sets up your supply. So the best thing that I always tell women who contact me on Facebook, especially for nursing advice, is to set yourself up for success when you're pregnant or when you're newly nursing. One of my favorite books to read is The Womanly Art of Breastfeeding. There's a troubleshooting section in there, so if you're having difficulty, it's really nice to, look up, popping off the breast or, getting irritated at the breast or no wet diapers. And you can kind of go through a checklist, it's kind of a flow chart to see how can I help this situation. And if you can't help it on your own, there's always groups you can reach out to, like La Leche League is huge. And I think a lot of people just don't know there are resources out there to help you. And there's nothing that you could say about nursing that a lactation consultant or a La Leche League leader hasn't heard. When you're a nursing mom and you're talking to another nursing mom, there is really no taboo. I mean, we've probably all seen it all, had it all happen to us. So I would say, support classes and make sure, especially if you're the significant other and your partner is struggling, make sure that instead of bringing formula into the situation, which makes your supply issues maybe worse, to get them in front of someone who can help them more efficiently so they're not creating more problems. So I read that entire book, The Womanly Art of Breastfeeding, before I actually had Scarlett, and I knew that I was going to be prepared to be nursing around the clock. One of the best tidbits of advice I've ever gotten was actually from my mom. She said when she was nursing my older sister, I'm the middle of 3 girls, when she was nursing Alyssa, she called her friend, who was a La Leche League leader, and she said, something has to be wrong. And Sandy said, what do you mean? She goes, I'm just sitting here nursing Alyssa constantly. Like, it's just constant, that's all I'm doing. And Sandy said, so? And my mom goes, I just was like, what do you mean, so? I wasn't expecting this. She goes, your baby knows what to do more than you know what to do, so just follow their cues. And it really kind of boiled things down for me. And my mom has told me that story way before I ever got pregnant with Scarlett, but it really set myself up to know that you're going to be prepared to sit on the couch, maybe get a little basket with goodies to eat and lots of water, because it is something you have to stick out, especially those first couple weeks while they're establishing your supply. So the next question, or thing I want to comment on, is that it seems that today in media and social media, that they've created more drama around breastfeeding than actually happens in public when a mother is nursing. So I just wanted to share my experience, and I'll have Ivette share hers. As far as nursing in public, we see all these videos, which I have cried that they're a fake and a setup, of mothers being rebuked in public, which is kind of crazy. I've nursed Scarlett, wherever, whenever, and boobs out, and I've never once had anyone say anything negatively to me or come up to me. And I think that the media, which they're very good at, fear-mongering, the media creates this fear in your head. I'm pregnant, I'm gonna be nursing in public, and now I have so much anxiety about it that maybe I won't even do it. And I just wanted to share that after a year and a half of nursing, my sisters nursed 2 children, each to the age of 2. My mom's nursed 3 children, each to the age of 3. We've never experienced someone coming up and being so forthrightly rude. I just think that in public, people are a lot more kind, obviously, than on social media, like the keyboard warriors or the reporting photos warriors for nudity. So I just wanted people to be encouraged that my experience and that of tons of my friends has actually been really positive. People are really accommodating, really kind, and really generous, and they're usually not going to be getting in your way, in your face, or demeaning you for nursing your child. So if that's something that's holding you back, I have yet to hear a story of someone that I know that has actually had a negative experience. How about you, Ivette?
Not myself, fortunately. At first, like with my first baby, I was so scared. I would use the covers and he would pull them down and I would be like, no, no, please, no, don't show my nipple to anyone. But I mean, and then I was so done doing that. I'm like, whatever. I don't know these people. They don't know me. I'm just doing whatever is best to my child. And I've nursed in churches, in restaurants, and high-end stores, and farmers markets. No one ever told me anything bad, but I've heard a lot of good comments. Like, I've actually, do you know these cards are going around? Like, there's kind of like a business card, and it says, "Good job on breastfeeding," and I support you. So I've got quite a few of those. I think it's a really cool idea, yeah. So I ordered those, and then sometimes if I have them, and I would see a breastfeeding mom, I would come and be like, tap. Yeah, so I've never had negative comments in person, but me as a breastfeeding photographer, I definitely went through it all online with the, keyboard warriors and the trolls. They're like all over the place. But when I started this project like a year and a half ago, at first it was terrible. I would get a few good comments and they would be like, okay, I like it, but but I don't know if you should show it to us, like it should be kept private. And then the rest was like, what are you doing? This baby's way too old to do that. And I mean, I can kind of see your nipple. I can see a side of your nipple. So, but I kept posting and posting, and these comments actually kept me going. I'm like, okay, my journey is not done yet. I have to keep move forward. And so I didn't stop, and like month to month, it got better. I actually, like all the trolls, some of them were like, okay, Ivette, I'm just gonna say it. At first I thought it's weird, I felt uncomfortable looking at these pictures. But now I get it, it's beautiful, it's normal. Like I see the moms, I see the look at, at the mom, in the mom's face, and it's beautiful. So yeah, so I think that if I would get a negative comment, I saw these memes, online, so I would probably say that, why don't you throw a blanket on your head? And not, look away. So another thing that people, wanted to talk about was cluster feedings. So let's talk about it. What are they? Like, how do you get through them?
This is something that with my journey with Scarlett, she was like a marathon nurser. I think she nursed more than she not nursed. That was the only way she got to sleep, which was fine with me. We bed share and we're joined at the hip, so it was fine with me too. But sometimes if you're not prepared, or if you haven't educated yourself or attended meetings, or if you don't know, like you don't have an older sister that nursed, or you didn't see it happening, sometimes those cluster feedings, which are when you have a lot of nursing sessions close together and you're thinking, there is no way you want to nurse again. Like, how in the heck? And it's just exhausting sometimes. But like I said before, your baby oftentimes knows better than you do. And they're preparing for either a growth spurt or a reason why they need the nutrition. So cluster feeding, and if you're allowing your baby to nurse as often as they want, they're going to be changing the composition of your milk supply. They're going to be increasing your milk supply as well. So when you listen to some of these untrained physicians who tell you to nurse your baby only every 2 to 3 hours, or to like watch the clock, I'd rather say that you should watch your baby instead, because they're the ones that are giving you the cues, and these cluster feedings are there for a purpose. So sometimes if you're not listening to them and you're not taking your baby's cues as to how you should move forward with your journey, you could actually end up, one of my friends actually works in the ER as a nurse practitioner, and she sees babies come in with failure to thrive because they've been told incorrectly to only nurse every 3 hours. And if the child wants to nurse, milk is from a breast milk. Breast milk is more easily digestible than formula is, so they'll obviously want to nurse sooner than a formula-fed baby. So I just want to encourage moms that are in the thick of that cluster feedings at night. It can be really, really exhausting, but one day you'll look back and get through it, and you'll have a healthy, strong toddler and be so proud of yourself for getting through it. All right, one other thing.
How long can cluster feedings go? I'm wondering, because I've been having it. My little one is like 18 months right now, and I've been still having it. When he's sick or when he's teething, I feel like it never goes away. Another thing is tongue and lip tie, which I feel like also the nurses do not check, and we don't know why the breastfeeding is not successful for us. So how can it interfere with breastfeeding?
This is something that I actually didn't know about. I checked it probably a little bit too late. Scarlett does have upper lip tie. She had a terrible latch on my left nipple, and I was just so exhausted and overwhelmed with motherhood that I didn't even think to look at her lip at all. And I just want to go over some of the symptoms that a mom can experience, as well as symptoms for the baby. Because if it's properly diagnosed, an upper lip tie or a tongue tie, it can be really easily corrected, and it makes your nursing journey a lot more fun, a lot less painful. Your baby will be a lot happier, and things will move quickly in the forward direction instead of being caught up on all these snags. So for the mother's symptoms, I just wanted to read the list. You could have a creased, flat, blanched nipple after your feedings. And now that I look back on my journey, my left nipple was always like that the first 2 months of Scarlett nursing. And she does have an upper lip tie. I wish that I would have known, because maybe it wouldn't have been so excruciatingly painful. You can have cracked, blistered, or bleeding nipples, discomfort while nursing. This is another fear-mongering technique. A lot of people will tell new moms, oh my gosh, nursing was awful, it's so painful. And I've had a lot of people ask me that, and with this breast, she was properly latched on and everything was fine. With this breast, it wasn't fine. So I think that was somewhat of the lip tie, somewhat of a bad latch. And I know that breastfeeding doesn't have to be painful, and actually if it is, there's something wrong. So it can always be corrected with proper guidance. So the next thing is you can start to get thrush, mastitis, plugged ducts. You can have sleep deprivation, which yes, that's normal for a new mom. But if the baby's not able to latch efficiently or nurse efficiently, they'll be nursing throughout the night even more frequently than they would if they didn't have that tongue or lip tie. So if it's taken care of, then it's a plus for you and the baby. Some of the baby symptoms are difficult latching. They fall off the breast easily. They can sometimes start to chew like gum on your nipple to try to hold on. They're unable to hold a pacifier or a bottle in their mouth. Sometimes they're gassy. I mean, think about it. If you're trying to take a drink of something and you're sucking in a lot of air, that's an inefficient way of swallowing. So you're going to be taking in more air than liquid, thus creating a lot of gas. Poor weight gain, excessive drooling. If your baby's not able to fully drain your breast each nursing session, if they want to, that can also be a sign that they're not latching properly. The next one is choking on milk or popping off, falling asleep during feedings, then waking a short while later to nurse again. Extended nursing episodes. So this could either be something that's pathological, like something that needs to be corrected, or this can be totally normal too. So it's important, if you're having problems, to not just be alone in that. The worst thing for a mom when you're feeling any feelings is to keep them to yourself. Always try and find someone who knows or can help, because if something can be corrected, like an upper lip tie, then maybe your nursing sessions won't be so severe. And now, like I said, as I look back, I'm like, Scarlett did have an upper lip tie, and man, we did have marathon nursing sessions. So in the future, if I ever have more children, I'll be happy to be armed with this knowledge to maybe make our, the next child I have's journey a little bit more comfortable as well as mine.
So I don't know if you guys have any more questions. We'd be happy to answer some. Anyone has any questions?
So one of the best ways to increase supply is to just continually offer the breast to the baby. A lot of times people think I have low supply, so I'll start supplementing. And I've often said, if you think you have low supply, I would ask, why do you think you have low supply? Is it from pumping, or is the baby unconsolable? As far as, I know sometimes when your supply starts to regulate, I've had women say, my breasts don't feel as rock hard as they were, so I must be having supply issues. That's one time, a lot of times women will say that, or their breast feels differently. I know a lot of times Scarlett, my daughter, was actually fussy at the breast, but I think babies just kind of, sometimes they're a little crazy. And it doesn't necessarily mean that your supply is low. So if you do actually have supply issues, which I think is actually difficult to diagnose, and you would need help from a lactation consultant, I do have a lot of women on Facebook message me and say, I have really low supply, what can I do? And that's my first question is, what makes you think you have low supply? Because unless you're pumping, you really don't know how much the baby is taking in. And even if you're pumping, you have to make sure you have an amazing pump. I know sometimes people have a pump that's not very good, or it's old, or it's not a hospital grade, and that can affect output. And some women don't respond to a pump at all, because a baby is more efficient at drawing the milk out of the breast. So it's really hard to actually diagnose supply issues unless your baby is not having the correct number of wet or poopy diapers. So that's one thing that I would say to, look at how old your baby is, look at, research how many wet diapers they should be having, and if that number is spot on, then there's not supply issues. That's probably my main thing, because there's other things like just being cranky, a growth spurt, nursing a lot doesn't necessarily mean supply issues either.
Well, I'm breastfeeding my 2 boys, 4.5 and almost 2. So I'm pretty sure I have a little bit of milk, but if I would try to pump, I wouldn't get anything, nothing, not even a drop. So like Jessica said, it's definitely not a sign. And hey, mommy, I think you're beautiful and you would make a beautiful model for me. So, another question?
I know one of my good friends has twins that they'll be turning 3 in May, actually. No, 4 in May. And she's nursed them for 6 months successfully. And she actually, I don't know the name offhand. I could contact her and contact you as well. But she followed someone on social media, and this nursing mom of twins actually has YouTube videos on like how she set up her children. How did I actually make it happen? So she's like, I sat down cross-legged, this is where baby A is, this is where, and she showed the whole process. And me, who has a singleton, I was just sitting there going, you are amazing, oh my God. Because it really is amazing to watch the entire thing play out. And I know that Grace, who's my friend with the twins that successfully nursed, she said that watching those videos just gave her the idea of how to get it accomplished. Because before that, that was her first pregnancy, so everything was new to her. So if you want, after this, I could definitely give you my email and contact her, and that's one of the best resources she said that she used.
Looking for the image in my book. I have quite a few tandem nursers with twins, but I also have one with triplets. So, seeing if I can find it real quick. I think it's in the front. Oh, that's amazing. I mean, I feel like all breastfeeding moms are goddesses, but the ones that have multiples, oh my God. Oh, here it is.
So these are the triplets?
Yeah. So of course, she doesn't have 3 boobs. But I love how, I mean, it just all falls into places, you know, and I've shoot a lot of, you know, tandem nurses, and they all seem so natural. I feel like the first months must be the hardest. And I mean, what do I know? I don't have twins. But from what I see, it's just amazing what they're capable of.
I don't know if you saw the lady in the back. She's got the red stroller. She said she tandem nurses her twins. So maybe after you could get some advice from an expert back there.
Any more questions?
What I did, I had my daughter in November, and I knew that I was going to go back to work in May. And I actually didn't know what I was doing nursing to start. I knew my friends that had babies around the same time were like pumping, so I'm like, I guess I should start pumping. And now if I had another baby, I would just never pump. But that being said, so when Scarlett would fall asleep at night or before she woke up in the morning, I always pumped when she wasn't nursing. So I increased my supply that way, so I wasn't taking away the milk that she was going to be drinking. So as soon as Scarlett fell asleep and I was able to finally pop her off, I would take some time and pump. So if you're able to do that 2-3 times a day, even though I didn't end up keeping on doing that, and now I work entirely from home, so I won't have to do it in the future. But I know that doing it, you don't want to cut into your nursing sessions. You want to start an additional session, because then you can start to increase your supply and you're not taking that away from your baby.
So any more questions?
Right. Yeah, after she gets done nursing, the baby, yeah, so then you can get, you know, further drain the breast if they're not already, or even that active pumping after they nurse will start to stimulate, okay, baby needs more milk, so I'm gonna start increasing supply. So at first, even if you're not getting anything out of that pumping session, it will start to stimulate your body to know, okay, there's a sucking reflex going on, so now my body is gonna start to respond to that.
Anyone else?
Are you selling your book here?
I am. I have a table, and I'm actually, you can like write your name, and I'm giving some books away, and as well as free sessions. So, I mean, I've never seen, this is my first MommyCon, and I've never seen so many baby wears, so many cute babies in one place, and you know, as a photographer, I'm like, oh, you look awesome. So if you're interested, I would love to meet you at my table, and you know, you can win a session, you can buy gift cards, you can buy a book, you can buy a session. Go ahead. Yes, that's actually where I signed up first. It calls Breastfeeding Chicago. And there's also Badass Breastfeeders. So I actually shot the Badass Breastfeeders crater. In the middle of Chicago, we stopped the traffic. Like, we waited for the red light, and there was like over 10 breastfeeding moms. We all went to the street, and yeah, I'm pretty sure there's probably someone who was in the picture. Yeah. So that was pretty fun. Yeah, so I think, so it's Breastfeeding Chicago and Badass Breastfeeders.
And one thing that people don't know, that if you go to Google and just search whatever town you're in, and then you put La Leche League, it will come up with suggestions for meetings. Usually they're either once a month or bi-monthly meetings, and usually throughout the whole United States, unless you live really, really secluded, there's usually some sort of leader nearby, and even if you can't go, they actually provide their email address and phone number So if you need help in a pinch, or you need support, need a question answered, your husband has no idea, your sister doesn't know, your mom doesn't know, if you're not finding support on any of those boards, which I assure you you will, someone who is trained as a leader and knows a little bit more than just other moms offering support. A lot of people don't know that there's that resource available, and it's free. So if you go to these meetings, sometimes you can get so much help, especially in person, and they can oftentimes correct a latch or offer a suggestion for a new hold that will completely change your journey for the better.
Yeah, it's true.
So that's like for people that are teaching so long, do you like meeting as package on staff? Everybody in every hospital has
Every hospital has lactation consultants, so I feel like I've heard my friends like had those, and they say they're great. They saved actually their breastfeeding journey to better. So I don't see any more questions. I'm really honored to be here, and I'm thankful for Jessica that she came. She's actually graced on the cover, if you noticed. She's on the cover, and she's like one of my favorite Moses. So thank you so much for coming. Oh, go ahead. Ivette Ivens photography.com or my Facebook page. Facebook.com/Ivette Ivens.
I have two. I have one for my business. It's called Jessica Scott's Badassery. And then my regular Facebook is Jessica Scott. You'll see it because you'll see my dreadlocks as my profile picture. It's kind of a common name, but Jessica Scott if you ever need to contact me.
So thank you guys. It was truly an honor, and I would love to meet you at my table. And I would love you to sign for the free sessions and to win a book.